So I want to share with you a real simple technique that you can use to surrender instead of resist. People talk a lot about surrendering, how important it is, how powerful it is, how it's an alternative to resistance, but that doesn't necessarily give you the how-to. It might just, you just surrender. Yeah, but what do I do? How do I do it? So I want to give you a real simple technique that you can use to actually help you do it. Do surrender. It's as simple as this. You describe that thing which you're resisting. Just before I sat down to make this video, I was experiencing resistance. I was looking for a place somewhere on this 2 acres that we have here in Maui, in one of the 4 buildings that we have, or outside somewhere, that my 2-year-old would not come and interrupt me, right? And so I set the camera up, everything, sat down over in the fire pit. It's like ready to go, and he's like, comes over the hill, "Hi, Dad!" And it's like simultaneously cute and like, fuck. And so I'm moving the camera, going to another place, going to this fenced-in area where the pool is, and I'm feeling this tension in my chest. Then I hear my wife calling from me, and of course the tension speaks. She's looking for him. "He's over here. I'm just looking for a place where I can shoot the video without being interrupted." And it's like, so then not only am I feeling resistance, I'm expressing resistance as a passive-aggressive projection in the direction of my wife. I don't even think she could hear me, but I knew that was happening. And so I smiled to myself, and I'm like, that is so funny. Because here I am about to make a video to show a person, to teach people, to share with people a technique they can use to surrender when they're experiencing resistance. And so I just did it there, and so I'll use that as the example. My son keeps interrupting me no matter where I put my camera. That's the story that goes along with the feeling of resistance, right? And so the technique is this. It's 4 words. And all you do is you tag them on to the statement that expresses that experience of resistance. My son is interrupting me wherever I go with my camera. Here are the 4 words, and that's okay. That's actually 3 words. And that's okay. 3 words, not 4. My son is interrupting me, and that's okay. There's nowhere I can go. It feels like there's nowhere I can go to set my camera up without being interrupted, and that's okay. And so here's what it is. It's not a magic wand, right? The words don't do it to you. Okay? What are the words? The words are throwing your hat over a fence, right? You've thrown the words. You've spoken. And now you can go get them if you want. You can go over the fence and get the hat if you want. You don't have to. Just because you spoke something doesn't mean you have to feel it. But guess what it is? It's an invitation. So you speak it. If you can muster the willingness to speak 3 words at the end of whatever the statement is that expresses the resistance, if you can muster the courage, the willingness to speak 3 words, and then listen. You speak, you declare as an asking, you sentence, and that's okay. It's a speaking. I'm not saying it is okay. I'm asking myself, is it? By speaking that it is, and I'm listening. And so what is that? Another metaphor that I can use to what the speaking represents, besides the hat over a fence that you can go and get if you want. You don't have to, but you can. You can follow the hat if you want. You can follow the words if you want. Another metaphor would be, is like if I'm going skiing and there's a sign that says like blue slope this way, or if I'm walking through a neighborhood and there's a street sign or the name of a street with an arrow pointing that way. Like it's a signpost. Eckhart Tolle uses the idea that as a signpost, words are signposts. They point to a possibility. So, and that's okay is an invitation. It's an invitation to a possibility. And so to surrender would mean not just to speak the words, but to actually feel that that is true. And so how do you feel that that's okay is true? How do I feel that it's okay that my son keeps interrupting me when I'm experiencing the resistance of it isn't? Well, I follow those words. What does it mean to follow those words? Well, I use my mind to imagine visually what would it look like if it were okay. And maybe I see myself smiling. Maybe I see myself waving back at him. Maybe I see myself happily moving my camera. Maybe I see myself laughing at the fact that I was resisting it. Maybe I picture in my mind peace and happiness in the context of that before I was experiencing through probably unconsciously seeing that not being okay. So I start with seeing it. So I speak it, and then I see it. And then what happens as I start to see it, I start to feel a release and a relaxation. And when I can feel a difference, it's easier to move towards a feeling, to surrender to a feeling that's arising, than to surrender into a feeling of peace that when I'm experiencing resistance. But as soon as I start to feel a change, I can say yes to that feeling, I can move towards it in my body. Kinesthetically, I can be a yes to a feeling and I can encourage it and grow it. Kind of like in sex when you can say yes to an orgasm or no to an orgasm when you're in your body and present with your body, and that saying yes or no either amplifies the feeling or brings it down, right? That same kind of idea. As I start to feel that liberation that comes from seeing the beautiful possibility in the idea that it's okay, which is seen as a result of following the words that I spoke. As I start to feel that, I can move towards that feeling, and that's called surrendering deeper and deeper, more and more. And you could also call it letting go, letting go. You could call it forgiving, forgiving. You could call it loving what is. You can call it loving what is. Give it whatever name that you want. But I have found, and a lot of the people that I work with and that we share this idea have found, that these three words can be a beautiful invitation when tagged onto the end of any idea that expresses that which you are resisting. And that's okay. And that's okay. And that is okay. There's 4 words, and that is okay. 3 words or 4 words, you pick. I love you. Thank you for listening. My name is John Patrick Morgan. I will talk to you soon.